have been talking about ARFID, though, this morning. In fact, you were hearing from Nikki about 15 minutes or so ago. Her son, she believes, has ARFID. He's being treated as if he does have ARFID, although he's yet to receive a formal... I've completely forgotten the word, a formal diagnosis. And she was talking about what it's like for her as a mum, what it's like for him as a child with ARFID, and the challenges that it presents. Let's hear now from Gemma Oaten, who's a chief executive of the charity SEED. Gemma, hello, and very good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Can you tell me about ARFID? What is it?
It's drastically on the increase. I don't know if you've sort of spoken about the statistics already, but there's been a 7% increase in calls to be around ARFID, and it's becoming more and more prominent. And ARFID stands for Avoidant Restricted Food Intake Disorder, and it is a serious eating disorder. However, the difference with ARFID is that compared to anorexia, bulimia, binge eating disorder, it's not driven by the goal of weight loss or wanting to be thin. Actually, somebody who presents ARFID isn't concerned about their body shape or image. It stems from a place of fear of textures, of smells, of food types, of food groups, and that can be brought on by so many different factors, whether it be, psychological, whether it be sociological, whether it be environmental, genetics even. But the sad thing is about ARFID is that we just don't know enough because not enough research is being done at present to help people, like you just said about the lady you spoke to help people diagnose it.
And what Nikki was saying, one of her great frustrations is that people see it as picky eating, that they see it as somebody, who's just choosing whether they were going to eat or not, that kind of picky eater umbrella term that we put. And actually, it's more than that.
Yeah, it really is. The difference between, and I laugh because I can't even believe I'm saying it out loud because it's so tragic. But the difference between picky eating and ARFID is that somebody who has ARFID will starve themselves to death, and somebody who is a picky eater won't. Does that make sense? Like they physically, psychologically, if they don't have certain food groups that they have, they will not be able to eat them. But equally, if ARFID goes untreated, they could die from malnutrition. Like it's a really, really serious eating disorder and mental health illness, and it hurts me so much when I think people just, yes, of course there are picky eaters, of course there are phases. Gosh, I mean, I know what my nieces and nephews were like growing up. Like, it's a fact of life, but there is a difference when it, and you as a mum or a parent or a carer will see that difference in your child or your loved one, and it's about fighting to get that support.
And the way that you described it then, Gemma, is just so powerful, which makes you wonder why so little is known, maybe by the public, or even, as Nikki was saying there, she went to 2 GPs, neither of them knew about it, but one did have the foresight to refer anyway to a dietitian. Why so little is known?
I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did. I mean, and it's not just ARFID. It's the whole range of eating disorders. Like the research and funding, I was looking into it, and I think only 1% of all mental health research funding in the UK goes towards eating disorders. Like, to me, that blows my mind when 1.25 million people in the UK alone, and that's just those directly affected, that doesn't give into consideration the carers, the loved ones that are affected by an eating disorder. 1.25 million, and yet we are still fighting for better research, funding and understanding. And that's what it comes down to. There's no grey area here. It is literally about the money that is invested into awareness, into training healthcare professionals, into supporting charities like SEED, because our phone lines and our emails have not stopped this week. Do you know how many people I've got in the office? 3. One of them's on annual leave. Like it can't continue, and we need the government to step up and start really looking at this, because it's not just about those affected. It's I hate talking like this, but from their point of view, it's what the impact has on the economy as well. the hospital beds, the carers and loved ones who were being told, well, you can't get any help for your loved one at the moment, so you better just stay off work and look after them yourself. I mean,
it's baffling to you. I can sense that it is baffling to you, Gemma. Talk to me about Seed then. I mean, I'm slightly cautious to say this, bearing in mind you've just said how inundated you are. But when people get in touch with you and they're raising concerns, we'll specify an ARFID. I know you do deal with all eating disorders, but we'll specify with ARFID at the moment. What kind of help, support are you able to offer them?
One thing that we do at Seed and believe in strongly is that we are not a clinical service. We are there to support from a person-centred approach. So we believe that we should treat the person and not the eating disorder. So anybody who comes to us, given that it's not too complex a case, because as I say, we're not clinical, but anybody who comes to us is treated person by person as that human being, and we look at what their needs are, whether they need to be part of a support group, whether they need a little bit more hands-on support, so we get them one-to-one support with our volunteer buddy schemes. We look at say if it's a parent or a loved one, we run workshops called Walking on Eggshells about how to speak to somebody and live with somebody who is struggling with an eating disorder. So there are lots of different ways that we can support and help, and even sort of signposting if that person is coming to us from out of area. We've got an amazing alliance with REDCAN, which is the Regional Eating Disorder Charity Alliance Network. So we work closely and information share with First Steps ED in Derby, with Saida in South Yorkshire, with Sweden in Somerset. So it's not, no pun intended, but it's not one size fits all. It really is about making sure that everybody's treated as an individual. When I was poorly as a young girl, that's where it kind of went wrong. So recovery is possible. Please reach out and know that you matter.
Gemma, that's a very powerful statement to end on, so we will leave it there. But thank you. Gemma Oaten there, Chief Executive of the charity SEED, SEED, if you want to find them online. It stands for Support and Empathy for People with Eating Disorders. Otherwise, please do check out bbc.co.uk /